Hi,
Hi, Archie.
aka Beep and Bob.
Beb and Bob. Eating boy and
Beep and Bob.
bike on bear, bear on bike, bear on bike, right?
Yes, not bike on bear.
That would make sense. Okay. How are you today?
Very good.
Okay, so Jigsaw and Mila have come over to Kim's house. They have their final piece of the puzzle in this chapter, and they are putting all those pieces together. And what's coming into focus? What's the picture that's developing from all of these different pieces? Who is the person or people behind all of these mysteries? I think at this point, we kind of know who is behind all of the mysteries. I think that Jigsaw is pretty sure all of these mysteries are going to lead to Buzzy Lennon and his girlfriend.
Kayla.
But he needs to prove it. So he needs to collect all of these clues and put them all together to show how they go together and how the picture that, shows up from all of these clues, like putting the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle together. He needs to show that it, makes the picture of Buzzy and Kayla. So they're talking to Kim. They have found her down in the basement of the house, which looks kind of like a rec room or playroom or family room. It also looks like a laundry room. And she's putting a puzzle together. And Jigsaw says to Kim, I think you've been used. And that's kind of an interesting expression here. In fact, he says, I think we've both been used. You and me both. So what does that mean to be used? Well, things that we would use are, we could use a phone to make a phone call. We could use a remote control to turn on the air conditioning. We can, use a lamp to give us light. We can use a bike to help us get to school. There are many things that we can use, but how do we use people? Well, sometimes we use people in ways that are appropriate. For example, we learned back at the beginning of the book that people can have a business or a job where they are either providing a product or a service. They're either making something that people can buy and own and take away and have, or they're doing a service for people, like teaching or being a doctor or a dentist or counseling or fixing your car. And when people are doing a service, they are helping you with something, but they're not giving you a product that you're going to take away. For example, if I bring my car in to get fixed, it's not like I'm going to drive away with a brand new car that I got for free, right? I'm just getting my own car fixed. Or if I go to the dentist to have my teeth cleaned, I'm not going to walk away with a brand new set of teeth. I'm going to keep my own teeth and get them clean and fixed. So people that are providing a service, in a way, we are using their expertise. We are using whatever they're good at doing, that they have learned how to do well so that they can help other people. But in this case, when Jigsaw says, I think we've both been used, this does not give the message that it's something good.
That's bad grammar.
No, it's not bad grammar to say that we've been used. It's more of an expression in English. And it's an expression that has a negative connotation, which means something that is not good. If you say, I think I've been used, that means that you think someone got you to do something without you knowing it or agreeing to do it or realizing what their intention was. So for example, Buzzy Lennon's whole motivation, his whole motive was to get Daniel and Nick to stop taking away his leaf raking business. So one of the jobs Buzzy really wanted to do was the Rigby place, because the Rigby place is a big yard with a lot of leaves. And this nice little old lady who's willing to pay him whatever money he asks for. So he did not want Daniel and Nick stealing that job away from him. That means he needed to convince Daniel and Nick that they didn't want to do the Rigby place. Well, he probably was not going to be successful at convincing some middle school boys to be afraid of going to rake the leaves at someone's house. But he could be successful at getting a second grade boy who's only 7 years old to be so afraid of the Rigby place that he would talk his brothers into not going there. And isn't that what happened? Jigsaw was so scared by the walking scarecrow that he ran home and told his brothers, Daniel and Nick, promise me that you will not go to the Rigby place. Promise me that you will not go to that house. And they thought he was crazy, right? They said, color me blue and paint me a Smurf or something, I don't know. But they thought he was crazy. But then they realized he was serious and he was really upset. And they like their little brother Jigsaw. And so they said, fine, it's not a big deal. There are other houses. We don't have to go to that one. Maybe they didn't understand why Jigsaw was so scared. They probably could have said, hey, we're big 7th graders. Let's go. We will take you back to the Rigby house and see what's going on. We will go investigate. We will protect you. We will go find this walking scarecrow and see what's happening. But they did not offer to do that. I think it was easier and simpler for them to just say, fine, we will not go rake the leaves at the Rigby place. Well, then Buzzy got what he wanted, because he did not want Daniel and Nick getting that job, because that would be less money for Buzzy. So he is going to use Jigsaw. He needs Jigsaw to be so scared that he will convince his brothers not to go there. How does he use Kim? Well, he needs a reason to get Jigsaw to go to the Rigby place. So he gets Kayla to help take Kim's necklace. And then he makes the phone call saying, okay, Jigsaw needs to go to the tree with the hole in it on the Rigby place, or at the Rigby place. And that brings Jigsaw right where he wants him to be, to see the big walking scarecrow. So he needs to have a reason to get Jigsaw to go there. That brings in the missing necklace, the stolen necklace. So he uses Kim for her necklace. He gets Kayla to tell Kim to hire Jigsaw. He gets Jigsaw on the scene. And then he calls and says, okay, if you want the necklace back, send Jigsaw to the Rigby place to put $3 in a hole in a tree. But this was all about getting Jigsaw to the Rigby place at a certain time so that Jigsaw could see the walking scarecrow and then be so scared that he runs home and tells his brothers, don't go rake the leaves at the Rigby place. And then Buzzy will get the job and will make money. So this was a pretty elaborate plan or scheme for Buzzy to get that job at the Rigby place, raking the leaves. The way that he used Jigsaw was because he wanted Jigsaw to be so scared, he talked his brothers out of doing the leaf raking at the Rigby place. And he used Kim in order to have a missing necklace case that needs a detective that would bring Jigsaw into the picture. So both Kim was used for one thing, for her necklace. Jigsaw was used for another thing, okay, his detective skills, and then making sure he's in the right place at the right time to see the scarecrow walking. So he would be so scared, he would run home and tell his brothers not to go there. So he's using them, but they don't know that. He's almost, we have an expression in English about using them like puppets. He was almost, if you see those kind of puppets where you can move the strings, you can stand above the puppet and move the strings and the arms and legs move. And in a way, he was treating Kim and Jigsaw like puppets in this whole big scheme to get Nick and Daniel to not rake the leaves at the Rigby place. So when we say I've been used, it means somebody manipulated me. Somebody got me to do something for a certain reason that I was completely unaware of. And when someone manipulates you or gets you to do something without your permission, without you knowing the real reason why they're getting you to do that, then you don't feel good about it. You don't feel like it's fair. You don't feel like that person was honest with you or gave you the real reason why they wanted you to do something or be someplace. So feeling like you've been used is not a good feeling. It's not, you feel like it wasn't fair and you feel like someone wasn't being honest, and so you can't trust them. And that's why it has a negative connotation. And so Kim says, used by whom? Fuzzy Lennon and Kayla. And we talked about how she's probably in on it too. So that means she's included as kind of a partner, part of the team. Now, here's where we left off. Kim didn't look shocked. Maybe she suspected Kayla all along. I didn't know. I'll start from the beginning. I spoke, glancing at my notebook. So Jigsaw has had his notebook with him since the beginning of the mystery, I think back in chapter 2. He writes down all of his clues and observations in his notebook. So let's look at what he has in his notebook to see, it's going to be kind of check, 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 check as we go down the list of clues. He says, first, your necklace turns up missing. You don't know what to do, but your sister Kayla does. She suggests you call me. So that's an important clue that it was Kayla's suggestion. The thing is, Kayla doesn't know me from a lumberjack. He's just kind of making a joke. He's saying, Kayla doesn't know who I am. She's never met me, right? Why in the world would she think of me? Why did she pick me? He thought that was very hard to believe, right? That's back when we were talking about how he chewed on it for a while. It was tough to swallow, right? It made no sense to him that Kayla, a middle school student, would suggest him, a second grader, who she doesn't even know, to be the one to come and solve the case of the missing necklace. So that's clue number 1. Kim didn't answer, but I could tell I had her full attention. She's listening. Then came the phone call, I continued. They wanted me, italics, to make the drop off. They wanted me outside in the dark of night, standing close, but not too close, to the Rigby place. So that was the next clue. Very odd. Okay, first they want Jigsaw to be the one who's the detective. Then they want Jigsaw to be the one who goes to the Rigby place to make the drop off. It continues to be about Jigsaw. Both of these clues. This was Kim's necklace that's missing. But here in this paragraph, we can see it was Kayla's idea, that probably Buzzy's idea, but Kayla Kayla is working with Buzzy, for Kayla to tell Kim, call Jigsaw, hire him, let him be the detective to work on this case. And then down here in this paragraph is the phone call. Who do they want to make the drop off? Jigsaw. Remember when when Kim got off the phone and they asked her, what did the person want? And she turned to Jigsaw and said, you, Jigsaw. Kim blinked, concentrating on every word. Do you get it now, Kim? I said. They didn't want ransom money. They wanted a witness. Remember, a witness is someone who sees something, someone who can say, I saw it with my own eyes. Do you remember the next day at school when Mila said to Jigsaw, I need to treat you just like any other witness. Tell me everything that you saw, every detail that you can remember. He was a witness. This is going to be Buzzy and Kayla, wanted me, Jigsaw, to see, italics, see something, a haunted scarecrow. This was all about getting Jigsaw, specifically Jigsaw, to see a walking scarecrow. And they wanted to do it at night when it's dark. Remember, it was getting dark, it was dusk, it was cold, he was by himself. He's only in second grade. It's spooky. There was no moon. And they wanted to make the scarecrow look haunted. That would really freak Jigsaw out. They needed it to be Jigsaw because do you think if Daniel and Nick, who are in 7th grade, saw a walking scarecrow, do you think they would have run away scared? No, they probably would have tackled it to find out what's making it walk, right? They're much older. They probably would not have been scared. Buzzy needed someone who could influence Daniel and Nick, like their little brother Jigsaw, who was young enough to be scared by something like that. I sighed. This is funny, but a little hard to explain. He says, they played me like a cheap kazoo. Now, I'm not really sure how to explain this sentence. This is figurative. I think it comes from a famous line in a famous old movie, like a movie made back in the 1930s or the 1940s. Very old movie, but I'm not sure. When you say that someone played me, it's almost like saying they used me. They played me means they tricked me. They manipulated me and they tricked me and they got me. You know, they tricked Jigsaw into thinking that the scarecrow really was haunted. He was not thinking, oh, gee, look, the scarecrow has shoes. And before it didn't have shoes, there must be a person inside. There must be someone who's trying to scare me. You know, Buzzy was very successful at tricking Jigsaw. And Jigsaw is a little embarrassed by that. He feels like, boy, they really fooled me. They really tricked me. So he says, they played me. Now, then the next part is Jigsaw kind of doing his playing with language thing. Okay, so this part right here, they played me. That's an expression that means they tricked me, they manipulated me, they fooled me. But Jigsaw, to do his playing with language thing, he's like, this word played, you know, you can use this word played for a lot of reasons, right? Play soccer, play basketball, but also play an instrument, right? Just play a game. But he's thinking, when you play an instrument, what instrument can you play? Violin, piano, trumpet, or a kazoo? Now, let me show you what a kazoo is. Okay, here is a kazoo. Have you ever seen a kazoo? Well, A kazoo is not an instrument that I think you would see in an orchestra or a band or a class at school. It's more of kind of a silly instrument, I think. Let me see if I can show you what it sounds like. Would you like to see would you like to see what it sounds like? Here's a Christmas song on kazoo. I'm not sure how you make different notes on a kazoo, but I assume it comes from kind of humming, and that when you're humming, you make the different notes or the tune using your humming. All right, well, a kazoo has nothing to do with this story, other than it's something you can play to make some music. And Jigsaw wanted to add a little Jigsaw wanted to add a little simile here. So instead of just saying they played me, which means they tricked me, they fooled me, they manipulated me, he says they played me, and then he added on a simile to just make it kind of fun. And because that's how he is, he likes to play with language. So like turns it into a simile. And what is it that can be played to make music? Well, a kazoo. So that means in this sentence that I highlighted, the word played is being used for two different reasons. The first reason it's being used is in this expression, they played me. That means they tricked me, they fooled me, they manipulated me. And you might feel kind of embarrassed about that. The second way that played is being used is when he's talking about comparing, when he's making the simile of playing a kazoo. So it's a little bit of a silly thing to say, but this is kind of how Jigsaw is, right? He likes to make these similes. He likes to play with language. And so that's kind of how he is. So he goes on to explain, and he says, Buzzy knew I would get spooked. He knew I would tell my brothers, Daniel and Nick. Now, this is the important part, Kim, so listen close. See, my brothers just got started in the leaf raking trade, the business. Their rates, that's how much money do they charge for doing a job? Okay, how much money do you have to pay them to come rake your leaves? Their rates are cheap, okay? So it does not cost very much money to hire Daniel and Nick. It costs a lot more money to hire Buzzy. So if you own a house and like Mrs. Rigby and you have a lot of leaves in your yard, do you want to pay Daniel and Nick maybe 500 NT, $15? Or do you want to pay Buzzy maybe 2,000 NT or $60? They, Daniel and Nick, wanted to take away some of Buzzy Lennon's business. You know Buzzy, right? He says to Kim. He's Kayla's boyfriend. He was here the day you called me. I noticed his bike stashed in your backyard, right? So when Kim got the phone call in the kitchen and there was a boy on the phone because she said he, that would be Buzzy. And when Jigsaw looked out the kitchen window and saw the bike outside, that would be Buzzy's bike. I suddenly felt tired of listening to my own voice. Jigsaw says, that's a really strange thing to say. Have you ever been talking so much that a little voice in your head says, boy, I'm kind of tired of listening to my own voice? But I was nearing the end. So I think this is his way of saying to us, the reader, Boy, this story is a long explanation. I've had to talk and talk and talk to explain it because it's kind of complicated. But I was nearing the end, and Kim seemed to be hanging on every word. So here's another expression, hanging on every word. This is figurative. This has nothing to do with, hanging upside down or hanging from the top of a ladder. Hanging on every word just means she's listening very carefully. So that's a figurative expression. She's listening very carefully. And he says, the plan worked perfectly, I said. At my urging, Daniel and Nick decided to stay away from the Rigby house, even though she pays 100 balloons for a fall cleanup. Wow, I don't honestly know if that is literal or figurative. I don't know if he means that she just pays a lot or if she really literally gives them 100 balloons. I don't know. Jigsaw then says, there was no haunted scarecrow. Or actually, this wasn't Jigsaw, this was Mila. Mila says, there was no haunted scarecrow. There was no haunted scarecrow, Mila concluded. Remember, concluded is like the word said, but it means that you're putting a bunch of information together and making a conclusion. Saying, okay, this, and this, and this, when I pull it all together, what it means is this. It was Buzzy Lennon dressed up like one. What is one? A haunted scarecrow. So it was Buzzy Lennon dressed up like a haunted scarecrow. All right, that's where we're going to stop. We only have one chapter left. I wonder if we will finish next time, maybe one or two more times. In the last chapter, they do have to look at a couple more details. There are a couple loose ends that Jigsaw has not explained yet. For example, how could Buzzy be the one to call Kim if Buzzy was at Kim's house? How could Buzzy make a phone call from inside Kim's house to Kim, also in Kim's house? So that detail will be answered in chapter 11. That's the last chapter. And we will find out if Buzzy gets away with this or if Buzzy does not get away with this. Okay, let me go ahead and put our star here. All right, Archie, it's time to say so long. I could really say anything now since you're not speaking today. In fact, nobody can even see you because here, let me put the view on. There we go. Now everyone can see that you're upside down and not talking. So long, Bob, Beb, Cheddar Chip, my upside down friend. See you next time. We need to learn how to read lips to see what you're saying. Bye.